So, next topic is wave particle duality. So, let us put the heading wave particle duality. Wave particle duality. Wave particle duality. So, in general, we assume that light is a has wave nature. Light has wave nature. Light has wave nature. Light means photons. Photons. So light has wave nature and therefore many phenomena like reflection, like reflection and then refraction, refraction, diffraction and interference. Interference. So all these phenomena can be explained on the basis of the wave nature of light. Wave nature or wave theory of light. Wave theory of light. But there are certain phenomena like photoelectric effect, like photoelectric effect, and Compton effect, then absorption and emission of radiation, absorption and emission of radiation, emission of radiation. So, so these phenomena cannot be explained on the basis of the wave theory of light, but they can be successfully explained on the basis of the particle nature. Explained on the basis of particle nature. Particle nature of light. Of light. So that is the photon. So photon is the quanta of energy for the electromagnetic radiation, and this photon is treated as particle. This photon is treated as particle. As particle. Now one should note here that when I say light, then light means it in the broader spectrum it is the electromagnetic radiation. Light, which is generally for the used for the visible range, and this belongs to a broader spectrum of the which is electromagnetic radiation. So we know that in electromagnetic radiation, where lambda is increasing in this direction and frequency is increasing in the opposite direction, so in between we have visible light, visible range, and then we have infrared, and then microwave, and then radio wave. And on the other side, towards increasing frequency, we have ultraviolet, and then we have X-ray, and then we have gamma ray. So this is the complete spectrum of the electromagnetic radiation, and in this complete radiation, the quanta of energy is termed as photon. So photon is treated as particle. This we have already seen in the Planck quantum theory. So what we can conclude here, we can conclude that there is a wave, and also there is particle. So for every particle there is associated wave, and for every wave there is associated particle. So every object or every wave has dual nature, and which is known as the wave particle duality. So at some time it is behaving like a wave, and at another time it is behaving like particle. So in case of light, this is also true, that sometimes light behaves like a wave and sometimes it behaves like a particle. Now come to the next topic, which is the matter wave. So put the heading matter wave. Matter wave. So based on the same wave particle duality, we can say that there is a wave, there is a wave associated with each particle, with each particle, and the wavelength of such wave. So this type of wave is termed as matter wave. So, there is a wave associated with each particle, and such wave is termed as matter wave. So for the matter wave, wavelength lambda is given by h by p. Wavelength is given by h by p, where h is Planck constant and p is the momentum. So if originally there is some energy, then that energy is more like wave, more like wave, and then it behaves like particle, then like particle, then like particle. While matter is more like particle, more like particle, and then it behaves like wave. So there is always a wave particle duality for all the energy and for all the matter. And this wavelength associated with a particle or associated with a matter wave is known as de Broglie wavelength. De Broglie wave, and wavelength is de Broglie wavelength, which is given by lambda is equal to h by p. So on the basis of the wave particle duality, there is uncertainty principle. There is uncertainty principle. Uncertainty principle. So according to this principle, the position of the particle and the momentum of the particle cannot be specified accurately simultaneously. So let us write it simultaneously. One specify cannot specify accurately the position and momentum of any particle. So there is always an error in measuring x, and that is delta x, and then there is an error in measuring momentum, which is delta p, and that is equal to h, where h is Planck constant. So this is known as the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. That is, there is uncertainty of delta x and delta p in position and momentum of the particle, and that multiplication is of the order of the h, where h is Planck constant. So now let us go to another topic. and put the heading de Broglie wavelength. Put the heading matter wave de Broglie wavelength. De Broglie wavelength. So we know that for de Broglie wavelength, lambda is equal to h upon p, where p is momentum, h upon m into v. This can also be written as, let us multiply it by nu, then it will be h nu upon p nu. So h nu is equal to e upon p nu. So this can also be written like this, or in another way we can write it as lambda is equal to, if we multiply it by c, then it will be hc upon p, where hc is the uh, hc upon pc, hc upon pc, and p into c is equal to energy. So it is hc upon energy, or it is hc upon mc square. So these are the different ways to express lambda in different form. Now come to the another equation, that is we can write lambda in terms of the kinetic energy. Let us write lambda in terms of kinetic energy. Kinetic energy. So lambda is equal to h by p. This is the basic equation, that lambda is equal to h by p, and if k is the kinetic energy, which is equal to half mv square, and where mv is equal to p, so that this can also be written like p square by 2m, that is equal to kinetic energy, and therefore p is equal to under root 2me, where e is kinetic energy. So in such case, lambda is equal to h upon p, where p is under root 2me. So we have one more relation, that lambda is equal to h upon 2me. Now if a particle is accelerated in a potential difference, a particle in the accelerated at potential difference, a potential difference v, having charge q. So in such case, energy is given by, energy is equal to q into v, and therefore lambda is equal to h upon under root 2mqv. 2mqv. This is the value of lambda for the particle accelerated at potential difference v with having charge q. Now if a particle is at thermal equilibrium, if the particle is at thermal equilibrium, then what will happen? In such case, kinetic energy is given by 3 by 2 kT. So E is equal to 3 by 2 kT, and lambda is equal to h upon under root 3m kT, under root 3m kT. So these are the equations for the calculation of lambda. These are equations for the calculation of lambda at thermal equilibrium, and also when a particle of charge q is accelerated at potential difference v. Now let us calculate the wavelength for the electron. Let us calculate the wavelength for an electron. So put the heading wavelength for an electron, wavelength for an electron. And we know that the mass of the electron is 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31 kg. And let us assume that the velocity is equal to, 10 to the power 7 meter per second. 10 to the power 7 10 to the power 7 meter per second. So what will be lambda? Lambda is equal to h upon p, and that will be h is 6.62 into 10 to the power minus 34, and then p is equal to m into v. So m is 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31, and then velocity is 10 to the power 7, and then lambda comes out as 0.727 angstrom. So this is the value of lambda, and if we compare it with the size of the electron, then we find that the wavelength lambda is of the order of the size of electron. So in this type of situation, the wave nature is important. Wave nature is important. When the size of the wavelength is of the order of the size of the particle, so in that case wave nature is important in comparison to the particle nature. In a comparison to particle nature. And now let us calculate again the wavelength associated with an object or vehicle where the mass is equal to 1000 kg, and velocity is 80 kilometer per hour. So 80 kilometer per hour is equivalent to 22.2 meter per second. Now if we calculate lambda for this using the same formula, lambda is equal to h by p, where h is known, which is 6.62 into 10 to the power minus 34, and then the p is m into v, so it is 1000 into velocity, which is 22.2. So in this situation we get the value as 2.98 into 10 to the power minus 38 meter. So now let us see that what is the relation between lambda and the wavelength and the size of the object. So here we find that the wavelength is very less in comparison to the size of the object. So wavelength is very less than the size of the object. In such situation, the wave nature can be neglected. And particle nature is important. Particle nature is important. So you will not hear the statement like what is the wavelength associated with a train, but you can hear the statement like what is the wavelength associated with the electron and what is the wavelength associated with the neutron. So wave nature is important when the size of the wavelength is of the order of the size of the object, and if the wavelength is very small in comparison to the size of the object, in such cases we can neglect totally the wave nature and we treat only the particle nature of such object. So now let us go to the next page and another topic. Now put another topic, which is the experimental verification of matter waves. Experimental verifications of matter wave. Of matter wave. So matter wave means the let us take electron as matter, and what is the wave associated with the electron, so that will be the matter wave. So here it was demonstrated by Davison and Germer, two scientists, and it is famous as Davison and Germer experiment. So in this experiment there was a filament, to eject the electron and attach to the high potential, and then this was kept in a cylindrical cathode. And high voltage was applied between the cathode and the anode. And anode is also in the form of cylinder. This is anode, and it is connected with the potential. So here it will be positive potential, and here it will be negative potential. To the cathode. Cathode is also in a cylindrical form, and anode is also in a cylindrical form, and inside the cathode there is filament F, to eject electrons. So electrons are ejected, and this whole assembly is known as the electron gun. Because this emits electron. So electrons are emitted from the filament, and they are attracted by the anode, and after anode they travel in a direction, x direction. Then there are slits to pass a beam of the electron, and then they are incident on a nickel target. At some angle, let us say theta, and this is the normal, and then they are diffracted, and after diffraction they are detected by some detector, by detector. So that may be the ionization chamber, or something else. It may be ionization chamber or something else. The main purpose is to detect the diffracted electron. So on this basis of the experiment, a graph was plotted between the intensity of scattered or diffracted electron, and the angle of scattering. And this graph was plotted at different voltage. So such type of graph was observed. At different voltage. So let us now plot a graph at different voltage. So at some voltage, a bump was observed in this intensity. So let us first put the value of voltage 40 volt, and then 44 volt, then 48 volt, and 54 volt, then 60 volt, 64 volt, and let us also draw at 68 volt. At 68 volt. So at 40 volt the graph was like this. Then at 44 volt some bump was started, and then this bump was again started. Bump means there is maxima at certain angle and then the minima, and at 54 volt the maximum bump was seen, then again it was decreased, and then again we get the same type of pattern as at 40 volt. So at 54 volt the maximum intensity was observed, and this maximum intensity was at 50 degree. This was at 50 degree when scattering angle was 50 degree at 54 volt. Then maximum intensity of the scattered electron was observed. So using this 54 volt and that 50 degree angle, some calculation was done following the Bragg's diffraction condition. Following Bragg's diffraction of crystal condition of crystal of crystal and the formula is 2d sine theta is equal to n lambda, where n is the order of diffraction. Order of diffraction. Order of diffraction. So let us put n is equal to 1. Then we have equation 2d sine theta is equal to lambda. Now for the nickel, this d value is constant, and that d value is 2.15 angstrom. For nickel, d is equal to 2.15 angstrom. So if we put d is equal to 2.15 angstrom in this equation and sine theta as 50 degree, because at 50 degree, so let us substitute this value 2 into 2.15 and sine 50. So this will give the value of lambda, and this comes out as 1.65 angstrom. This comes out as 1.65 angstrom. So this is the value of lambda using Bragg diffraction condition, and this Bragg diffraction condition is for the diffraction of X-ray by the crystal, that is diffraction of the electromagnetic wave by the crystal. So let us write it here. It is for the diffraction of X-ray by crystal. Now let us calculate lambda in a different way using the basic relation lambda is equal to h by p. So in this lambda is equal to h by p, we can put h is equal to 6.62 into 10 to the power minus 34, and then value of p, so which is under root 2 me. So it is under root 2 me. So it is 2 into m, which is 9.1 into 10 to the power minus 31, the mass of electron, and then it is E, which is Q into V. So Q means 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19, the charge on the electron, and then V is 54 volt. In this case, V is equal to 54 volt. So if we calculate this term for lambda, then it is 1.66 angstrom. So what we find here, that the both values are in good agreement. Here it is 1.65 angstrom and here it is 1.66 angstrom. So there is good agreement. There is good agreement. It means that matter wave behaves like photon. It behaves like photon, and it also conforms the particle and wave nature, wave particle duality, because if we derive the same wavelength using the wave phenomena, X-ray diffraction, we get the same value, and if we derive the same value of same wavelength using the particle nature h by p, then again we get the same value. So it confirms the wave particle duality for the matter wave. So matter wave behaves like photon. It means electrons are also behaving like a wave. So electron is behaving like wave. Is behaving like wave. So this experiment is a very famous experiment, and it confirms the wave particle duality. Now let us go to the next page and choose another topic. So another topic is the two-slit interference pattern. Two-slit interference pattern with electrons. With electrons. Now two-slit interference pattern from light are using photon is already well-known phenomena, and here we are discussing two-slit interference pattern with electron. So the experimental setup is like this. There is a cylindrical anode. There is a cylindrical anode, and in between the anode there is filament acting like the cathode. The filament is acting like cathode, so there is a potential applied, negative potential on the cathode and positive potential on the anode. Positive potential on the anode. So this is filament F, and this circular or this cylindrical body is anode. This is anode. This is anode, and electrons are ejected from this assembly, and then they are passed with, there is also a slit here, there is also a slit here to control the beam of electron, and then these electrons are passed through two parallel slits. Two parallel slits. So one parallel slit is like this, another parallel slit is like this, and between these two slits the electrons are passed. So now the two slits are like two parallel two parallel slits are coherent source. Coherent source are acting as a coherent source. They are secondary source, but they are coherent source. And if we put a photographic film, a photographic plate to observe the phenomena, then we find the interference pattern by the two sources, which are two slits which are acting like the two coherent sources of the electron. And this interference pattern is like this. So there will be maxima and minima on both sides of the center. The same amplitude, maxima and minima. So this interference pattern, which is observed in this experiment, interference pattern is similar to the interference pattern of photon. Interference pattern formed by photon. So using this experiment again we can conclude that there is wave particle duality, there is wave particle duality and electron, which is particle by nature, which is particle by nature, behaves like wave, behaves like wave, and this wave is known as matter wave, matter wave. So these two experiments, that is Davison German experiment and two-state interference pattern with electron, uh, show the existence of or confirm the existence of matter wave. They confirm the existence of matter wave associated with electron, associated with electron. So now in general we can say that if the particle size is very small, like electron, proton, then the wave nature is more important in comparison to the particle nature. And if the particle size is large, for example the simple objects in our daily life, in such case the wave nature is can be neglected and the particle nature is more important. Now come to another topic, a small topic, which is the phase velocity of the wave. So put the heading phase velocity of the wave, of the wave. So phase velocity for a wave is defined as the velocity with which with which with which constant phase moves. So phase velocity means the velocity with which constant phase of a wave moves. So for wave we can write the equation that y is equal to a sine omega t minus kx. A wave can be represented as y is equal to a sine omega t minus kx, where this omega t minus kx is representing phase. This term is representing phase, and because the phase is constant, therefore omega t minus kx is equal to constant, is equal to constant. And now let us differentiate it with respect to t, with respect to t. Then it will be omega minus k into dx by dt is equal to 0, or dx by dt, which is phase velocity is equal to omega by k. So phase velocity for a wave is given by omega by k. This is the formula of the phase velocity, and it is defined as the velocity at which constant phase of a wave is moving. Now let us apply this to matter wave. Let us apply it to the matter wave. Matter wave. So what will be phase velocity for the matter wave? That is omega by k. Omega is equal to 2 pi mu upon k, and then 2 pi by k is lambda. So it is nu into lambda, and nu into lambda, and this can also be written as nu lambda, and then write it another way as v is equal to Yes, we can write it as V pH is equal to and mu lambda, and then lambda is equal to h by p, and which is h upon m into v. So this is also equal to h. Let us multiply it by v is equal to 1 minute. There is some manipulation. It is, yes, it is v nu upon lambda. Let us write continue from here. Let us continue from here that v p is equal to nu lambda, and this nu is equal to e is equal to h nu. So nu is equal to e by h. So it is e by h, and then lambda is equal to h upon m into v. So this h and h get cancelled, and then we are left with e upon mv, e upon mv, and then e is equal to mc square. E is equal to mc square. So it is mc square upon m into v. So m cancel, and then we are left with c square by v. So what we get? We get that phase velocity is equal to c square by v. So c means it is the speed of light, and therefore c square by v is always greater than c. It is always greater than c. So from this calculation, we find that the phase velocity for matter wave is more than c, and this cannot happen. Any velocity cannot be more than the speed of the light. Therefore, this type of calculation, or this type of velocity, which is termed as the phase velocity, has no meaning for the matter wave. So let us write it again. Because Vp is greater than c, it means that Vp has no meaning for matter wave. And there should be another velocity for the matter wave, and that velocity is known as group velocity. So that is another velocity which has significance for the matter wave, and that is group velocity. So whenever there is movement of the wave associated with the matter, there are large number of waves having some different wavelength associated with major wavelength. So for a given matter, there is a wavelength which is a major wavelength, and then together with that particular wavelength, which is known as major wavelength, there are many other wavelengths which are different from the value of lambda, and that difference is very small, and therefore they form a group of the wavelength or group of the wave, such that there is constructive interference among waves of different lambda inside the group or inside the packet, and destructive interference interference, interference outside the outside the packet. So it is not the movement of the wave, but it is the packet of the wave, and that looks like this. So this is one packet, and then again there is change. So if we form the envelope, then this type of envelope can be drawn to the group. This type of envelope can be drawn to this group of the modulated wave. So this is the modulated wave, and this is the maxima. This point is maxima. This point is again maxima, and this point is minima. This point is minima. This point is again minima, and this point is again minima, minimum in the pattern. So this pattern mm, is the movement of the packet of wavelength, and group velocity is defined as the uh, group velocity means it is the velocity it is the with which velocity with which the packet or the group of waves, the packet of wave moves moves. So that velocity is termed as group velocity, and in case of matter wave, this group velocity is important instead of phase velocity. And the group velocity is also the velocity of it is also the velocity of transfer of energy, velocity of transfer of energy, and therefore group velocity is important in comparison to the phase velocity, and it is defined as Vg is equal to d omega by dk, or this is equal to delta omega by delta k, whereas phase velocity is omega by k. So in this way, now we have completed all the aspects of matter wave and wave particle duality. So let us stop here.